So we're in the town of Colmar, France, region's Alsace. We're going to do a show on wine and food, mostly wine. And this region always gets confused with Germany, and for good reason. It's been Germany and France over the years historically a couple of times. The bottles are shaped like German bottles. The varietals are things like Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Sylvaner, all German sounding, but it's a very different style of wine. Stay with us today, well, the next 5 days, as we tour Alsace, meet the vintners, see some great food, and learn what makes Alsatian wine so damn delicious.
I'm Mike Colameco, industry insider. Been in the business my whole life, and I know what it takes to succeed. Each week we'll take you into real kitchens, filmed in real time. Backstage passes to a day in the life of chefs, restaurateurs, and their teams. The competition's fierce. Careers, life savings, and reputations hang in the balance. These are my people, and this is their passion. And that's what's next on Mike Colameco's Real Food.
Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
Lou's Naturals family of brands offers all-natural, minimally processed meats, free of antibiotics, hormones, and nitrates. From our family to yours.
Imported from Italy, Anna pasta is made from 100% Italian durum wheat semolina and pure spring water, slowly dried to cook al dente. Recipes online at cento.com.
Every year on a Sunday in early May, throughout Alsace, winemakers open their doors to the general public and host these lovely picnics featuring homemade local specialties paired with the producer's current releases and many vintages going back 20 to 30 years or more. One of the dishes being served here at this event is a ham, specialty of the region. It's been cooked for like 24 hours, super low temperature, white wine aromatics. I want to see this ham, so let's go inside. See the man that made it. He specializes in this stuff. Then we're going to see it cut, and I'm going to eat a piece with this wine.
The intention here is to share our passion of wine with the people.
And in Alsace, this same event is taking place at how many different... Hundreds of producers all over Alsace.
This kind of wine needs also to have a better exposure. So the people know this kind of wine has a beautiful aging potential. And they're great wines also.
How many generations has your family been on this?
We're 20th generation, and we
20th.
have 21st and 22nd running around here. Well, this is a Pinot Noir 1990, and these wines have this potential to age also. They had a good acidity and a good texture, like the Beaujolais and Southern Burgundy.
Great, man. Astonishing. You have some great parcels here.
I believe so. What is interesting now is to spread the word.
We're standing in a spot. Talk to me about what's behind you.
This is my village, this is my view. So we are really speaking from the place I'm born. And after that, here we are only part of the story. The wine is a part, the vineyard is a part, the producer is a part, the consumer. It's like a big chain. Grand Cru is a mythic word. These wines are complex. We cannot make a direct link between the soil type and the taste of wine, but we know it's like a cocktail, you know? Everything is in the dosage. If you miss just one point, it doesn't work. So, wine grower, landscape, donc the soil, and then you have also the work in the vineyards giving life into the soil, so the fruit can be really something having a sort of energy or even the spirit of the place.
Tell me about this vineyard. You have a great story. This is one of the vineyards your father acquired?
There were no vineyard here after World War II because everything was bombed and destroyed. The tanks were destroying everything. And so my grandfather bought this land. He could part this land because he took all the mines and the bombs outside with the horse here. That these vineyards were the most affordable for the young people 25, 30 years ago. And the most expensive land was the more productive. And now the more expensive is the less productive, producing the best wine.
I was really pleasantly surprised to see how many vignerons in Alsace actively practice biodynamic winemaking, and many have been doing so since the 90s. In a way, it makes sense, as they share a border with Germany, and Rudolf Steiner's influence is evident throughout the region. We're seeing more and more bioproduction throughout France, too, in the Loire, Languedoc-Roussillon, Jura, as the movement grows throughout Europe and many European wine regions. Thanks for inviting us, Cathy.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Now, we're going to do a dish here.
Yes.
Coco Riesling, it's classic.
Coco Riesling, very classic, traditional, and it's cooked in Riesling and served with Riesling, which is the king of Alsace wines.
Yes, and one of the great wines of the world, period.
Thank you.
Let's begin. So talk to me about this dish. We're going to sear the chicken breast.
Yes,
we're going to sear the chicken thighs
sear the chicken.
in batches to get good color.
Then we brown the shallots. First, the wine.
Reduce
Reduce the wine. Riesling, of course. We will add the chicken stock and put the chicken
back in
for about half an hour.
On the stove, it never goes in the oven.
On the stove, no, it doesn't go in the oven. For half an hour, and
with a little time left, the mushrooms
before
go in.
it's cooked, you know, we add the mushrooms.
Here we go. All right, we'll come back in 15 minutes and see what a mess we've made. So, Cathy, we're outside. And I was so surprised. I didn't know you were bio, so it's so cool to see this movement taking hold here in Alsace in such a big way. How old are some of your oldest vines?
The oldest vines are between 65 and 70 years old.
Still
they are
productive.
on mid-slope and still production, but very low yields. But, of course,
incredible.
An excellent quality of grapes, incredible quality of grapes. So our philosophy is to produce wines that show concentration, a great purity of fruit, intensity, balance and elegance. And of course, wines which are food friendly, because you know that in Alsace we produce the most food friendly wines in the world that can pair with traditional cuisine, with fusion cuisine, with any kind of cuisine.
All right, we've got these egg noodles, Alsatian style, adding some butter to them.
Just a little bit, tiny bit.
Yeah, it really binds though. It helps bring all the sauce together. We love heavy cream. Perfect, just a little spoon over the top.
Yeah, so this is the richest of our dry Riesling. It's a Riesling Schlossberg Cuvée Sainte Catherine, which comes from 60 years old vines located on mid-slope.
The ones we talked
about.
about.
The best exposure, you saw it before. And it's concentrated enough to pair with chicken or white meat, you know.
It's big wine. For Riesling, it's big, it's luscious, it's round, it's fat, but fat in a good way. Fat in a good way.
Yes.
It has that lean mineral background. It's tight, but it's like beautifully round and it's delicious.
Je lance.
Alsace makes some wonderful sparkling wines called Cremant. They can't call them champagne because of French labeling laws, but they're made exactly the same way and at a really good price point. It's the same style.
Well,
Champenois style.
Exactly the same.
Unlike Prosecco, that's Charmant, where it's in stainless steel and it's a whole different way.
Yeah.
This is done on the lees, racked, turned.
Exactly. The main difference, in fact, with the champagne is that due to the huge range of Cremant, you can use it from the beginning to the ends of a dinner or lunch. It has a strong gold yellow.
It's a red grape.
The nose is a little bit deeper, it's more present, it's more complex. Mike, remember one thing, in Alsace we love to eat, and we produce wine to be drunk with foods.
On y va 4 cabillaud, et on y va 2 pintades.
You know in America, porterhouse rolls?
Focaccia.
This is not even bread service. This is for customers between services.
The fish and the meat.
They're hungry, here's something to bite, fleur de sel, right out of the oven, brush with
They
butter.
take the break with the hand. Okay.
Nice. So Colmar's been home base for this whole trip. It's in the middle of Alsace. It's like the perfect town. And we're doing a Cremant tasting at a restaurant called JY for Jean-Yves. Jean-Yves Schillinger, and he doesn't know me, I don't know him. So you worked in New York? I ask him, and he says to me, yeah, when? Blah, 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 back and forth. Turns out we know 25 people together. New York's so small. He goes back to the days of Jean-Jacques Rochoux and La Vendue and Le Côte Basque. He worked with Joël Robuchon at the same time. Eric Ripert was in the kitchen. It's just like, boom, strangers, chef thing. Love an Alsace. So that's the langoustine with the lettuce.
Frisé.
Frisé.
You say frisé in English?
Really?
I said it because you know.
Well, frisé. So this is pentade, which is a bird. I don't know how to describe pentade. It's somewhere between a chicken and a guinea fowl, I guess, with asparagus white, asparagus green. And this is this crazy potato puree that was kind of invented by Joel Robuchon in the 80s. It's so hard to make. It's potatoes that you're boiling, passing it through a tammy, and then whisking an insane amount of butter into. So it's basically half butter, half potato. It's kind of like a potato hollandaise. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de poisson? Poisson? Oui, qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Cabillaud. I guess it's like a cod? Cabillaud? Cod in English? Yeah, it's the foie gras. Duck or goose? Duck.
Sturgeon tartare with vodka cream and Petrushian caviar. We do everything here, but nothing traditional. Just
Your take on what you want to do after 30-some years in the kitchen.
après il y a deux pintades après, une petite focaccia encore.
So that's Arctic char, kind of as a roulade with this crazy little potato, like crunchy little pomme souffle thing on the top, and this is the old garniture, like grenobloise, in a modern way.
That's seafood and the raviolis with seaweed and calamari.
So like a shellfish broth?
Yeah, only with shellfish.
Beautiful. Jean-Yves Schillinger, we're here tonight. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Trimbach family has been making wines in Alsace since 1626 and are now in their 12th generation. They produce top-quality wines from all the usual Alsatian varietals, but their two most prized bottlings come from the Rosacker Grand Cru and are simply labeled Clos Saint-Yun and Cuvée Frédéric Amil. These two are considered to be among the finest Alsatian Rieslings produced by anyone. Lucky me, I get to taste both at lunch. There's always this confusion in the US market. It's almost like, oh, that's German. And I'm like, no, actually, it's French. Because of the bottle shape, because of the varietals. Talk about the difference between the Alsatian style of vinification, with Riesling specifically, and the German.
Okay, so our Riesling usually are vinified bone dry, especially at Trimbach. We love bone dry wines and we hate unuseful residual sweetness, that's what we say. And usually the wines have a bit more alcohol than the Germans. So completely different vinification, completely different climate and soils.
Right.
Even though we are so close from Germany and we have been German at some point, different times.
At different times.
It is
right.
so different.
We're in restaurant Au Relais du Ministère. The chefs let us in the kitchen. This was not like an appointment. We just said, hey, do you mind if we film? So let's see how long this lasts. But we're having lunch with Trimbach in the village of Ribeauvier. We're going to drink some great wines with Trimbach. In the meantime, let's see what they're doing here. They've got white asparagus. It's the spring, so white asparagus is in season. Morels are in season. Kitchen action in France. Lunch. The place is packed. Pork loin.
This is the filet mignon.
Filet mignon de porc. Oh, matelote, oui, oui. Classic fish dish, classic old school.
Voilà.
Thank you, oui, thank you.
2009, Riesling, of course, coming from the two vineyards behind the winery, Grand Cru Geisberg and Grand Cru Osterberg.
Gotcha.
This wine we have been producing for at least 100 years from the same places.
As a signature.
It's the signature of the winery.
It's crisp, it's taunt, and you can see where this, I could see drinking this in 10 years, 15 years.
Yes.
Held
20 or
properly,
30,
yeah, I could
no
see
problem.
it.
Absolutely.
Like many families we'll visit on this trip, the Ugels have been making wine here in the postcard beautiful town of Riquier since the late 1600s. Today we'll meet the grandfather Andre and his grandson Mark, the next in line to take the reins. Though a generation apart, their shared passion and commitment are evident. Your family's been here for 13 generations.
13th, yeah. It's the 11th generation and the 13th. Yep.
Like the Trimbachs, like a few others that are just Alsatian royalty.
Yeah.
Only a few.
Only a few. So this is pretty cool. That's an actual map, and that's literally the stake is where we are. And then on the back, if you're really, really fussy, that's the coordinates?
Yeah.
It's great. And we're talking Riesling here still.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
We only produce around 4,000 bottles every year, and so that's one of them.
Sorry, one bottle down, New York. 3,999 to go.
What is unbelievable is that Riesling wines, after 50 years, 70, 100 years, are still perfect. You see, the oldest Riesling we have in our cellars are 1857, and 1865 we have 11 bottles, and we drink a bottle every 20 years. So I feel for me it's somewhat old. I have no chance to taste it again.
When was the last one?
I was going to ask the same question. When's the next one? These large format barrels we see all over Alsace are traditionally how the wine has been fermented and held for centuries. In fact, many of the actual barrels we see indeed do go back centuries. But to be clear, there is no oak contact whatsoever, as a thick wall of tartaric acid naturally builds up within the inside of these barrels, creating a natural shield between the grape juice and the wood itself. I mean, most of us are thinking it's wood on the inside, it's wood on the outside, but the truth of the matter is, it's wood on the outside, but on the inside, this is what's facing the wine, and this is what's attached to the wood, so it would be like this on the inside. So the wine is seeing this. That's crazy.
Yes.
And it's like a salt crystal. It's like a type of salt crystal.
Yes, that means that wine has no contact with the wood.
The fermentation is very slow in Riesling, often taking upwards of 6 months to complete. That length of time on Gros Lees yields complex, food-friendly, nuanced, bone-dry Rieslings with tremendous aging potential. Speaking of wine pairings, let's head across the street from the McGlades office to a little local restaurant for a pairing of their Gewürztraminer with an herbed, creamed lobster dish the chef has made just for this occasion.
It's in season, just now, early spring.
C'est le côté fastidieux de la recette.
That's the only thing which is difficult.
Just getting the shell off the lobster. So for the home cook, there's so much flavor in these shells. This is the basis for lobster bisque. It's the basis for so many sauces. Lobster sauce, it's like a flavor bomb. All right, some good Gewürz.
That one is not the Grand Cru Gewürz, but still a good one.
Jay-Z and Beyonce cook with the Grand Cru. No problem. Probably. Crème?
Crème fraîche.
Crème fraîche, that's what I thought, crème fraîche.
All the herbs except for flowers.
Persil japonais.
Japanese parsley. It's a lot of herbs.
Yeah.
Right, straight into the ice, stop the cooking.
Americans always have trouble with pairing foods with Gewürz. I mean, everyone says Mexican, Thai, anything spicy. But I think there's so much more potential beyond that.
Maybe the best thing is to try it.
Yeah, maybe. I'm with you on that.
It's gilt, as we say in Alsace.
So for me, you can give everybody else the tail. I'll take the knuckle, then the claw, the tail last. But I don't know. Chefs love these. Hiking up the steep slope of the Grand Cru Rangen vineyard with the young next-gen legends André Ostertag, Christophe Ehrhart of Josmeyer, and Olivier Humbrecht was a dream come true. We'll get their take on why they all farm bio, their passion for the region and its wines, and then settle in for a lovely hillside picnic of local specialties paired with nearly all their wines.
Okay, my name is Christophe Ehrhart. I'm from Josmeyer estate, located in Lindenheim, next to Colmar, in the center of Alsace. We own total 26 hectare vineyards, and we are organic and biodynamic since we started in 1997.
Hello, I'm André Ostertag. I'm a wine grower vigneron in Fig. I'm biodynamic since 15, 20 years now.
Olivier Humbrecht from Domaine Zind-Humbrecht. The winery is based in Turkheim. We are here in the Rangen vineyard in the south of Alsace, and we are also biodynamic for 15, 20 years.
Because we are close to Germany and we are a blend of two cultures. And Steiner was a German speaker. And so we have been conscious about biodynamic problems before a lot of other places. And I think that biodynamic is the best way to increase the living system in a vineyard, in a place, in a plant. And wine is living. If you have more life, you have more taste. It's so simple as that.
You use chemical fertilizers, but after that you have too high vigor, too high crops. You need to have chemicals to avoid your grapes to go into rot. It's stupid. You spend money both sides. You poison the soil and yourself both sides. It was for me stupid, and so that's why I started to see if it would be another way.
I think biodynamic is anything like sailing when you go to ocean. And when you have the water, when you have the elements in front of you, you can try to fight them, but you will never succeed to them. You will never be stronger than they are. When you have a biodynamic vineyard, you try to understand water, wind, the energy, and you manage all that through the elements you have. And there is no one recipe for biodynamic. It's very creative. It's depending on the place you are and it's the expression of the personality of the place. And you have to be in service of that.
It's like a chef, when he sees some food, he knows what he's going to do with it. He doesn't have to search for a recipe. And for us, it's the same. When we see a vineyard, we have a feel of the place. We know what to grow in it, how to do it. It's in our blood. It's part of us. And what's more the challenge for us is to preserve and keep what we achieved today. That's for us the real challenge for the future.
We're standing in your vineyard. How many generations? 7?
I'm number 7.
Number 7. And we do wine shows all the time. Portugal this year, we were in Sicily 5 weeks ago, and everywhere I go I try and emphasize to the wine world that it's all about terroir, it's all about soil typicity. Alsace is no different because you've got all sorts of things, and this might be the best spot. So you talk to me about this spot, Grand Cru, 3 Grand Crus, and how different they are there to here to behind me.
Okay, Domaine Schlumberger, so it's a 200 years old vineyard. We don't buy grapes, we don't buy juice, so we are really the farming part of the business. And the Grand Cru are basically those 3 pieces of land are more or less like 3 children born in the same family. They have the same education, but different character.
I've got 2 sons. I know that too.
Exactly.
Very well. You have one variety here. What's
yes,
it? What is
the Severine, it's the Riesling. That's
Okay.
the one you will see more often in the US. In the Kessler, we have Riesling Pinot Gris Gewürz. In Italy, we have Riesling Pinot Gris Gewürz.
And the Riesling from here will taste completely different from the Riesling 100 yards this way and that way.
Anyone who never ever tasted wine in his life can have these 3 different Riesling, same vintage, and say right away they are different. And that's the idea, is to, into your glass, highlight all the potential of this terroir.
We're going to do an experiment. We are going to drink your wines, but we're going to pair it with a tarte flambée. The tarte flambée is classic, so it's like an Alsatian pizza, for want of a better term.
Easy to make by anybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Tarte flambée demo paired with your wines.
Looking forward to it.
I'm in. Alexandre, you and I, let's go. That's for me. Luckily, I didn't have to make the dough. This is fromage blanc. He's laughing at me already. This one, they ordered extra onions, which is why I'm doing it this way. It was a special order. Okay, this is, yeah, it's bacon, it's pork belly, but it's not smoked. So it's like lardon. Tell him he doesn't have to go so fast. I want it all around the edges too. I like cheese along the edges. Thank you. I would try that, but there's a good chance it would end up over there. I mean, basically, it looks kind of like a pizza oven. So let's just go. We'll start. We'll do like a speed tasting.
So we start with the Riesling Grand Cru Severine.
Second one. I mean, this is almost like wet stone initially, and then I can't wait. I haven't got this, but this one would back.
The last one is Grand Cru Italy. Is definitely in the top 10 of the best Grand Cru of Alsace.
Same sun, same fruit, same vinification. 3 totally different wines.
So
Great.
make sure whoever tells you terroir doesn't exist,
No,
make sure they come over to see us. We can explain.
I think this is mine because there's too many onions. This looks like a combination of tarte flambée
Well,
and choux crus.
You're ready to open a flamenco in New York, I tell you. It's very good. Here's the deal.
This is perfect. So I'm out in the back garden of a restaurant Auberge de Lille in Alsace. I had the privilege of eating here when I was a young chef coming up in the mid-'80s, and I still remember the meal. It was just transformative. I love this place. It's quite a great history. They've been here for 130 years. The Haberlin families owned it. The original location was bombed during World War II, so they had to rebuild. And since then, they've had 3 Michelin stars, which is really the gold standard, uninterrupted for 47 years, maybe 48. I'm not good at counting. The only other restaurant that's any longer is Paul Bocuse. I love the food here. I love the place here. This is really like the heart of Alsace and the greatest restaurant in the region and one of the great restaurants in France, period.
So we are going to cook today. It's a box of sardine. à la façon auberge de Lille with a little bit caviar. So we have just to remove a little bit the bones, just a little bit lemon juice. That's it.
The lemon juice has a good amount of acid. It begins very gently to cook them.
A little bit olive oil.
Extra virgin olive oil.
Extra virgin olive oil. A little bit salt. And so we leave the sardines for almost 1 hour. We are going to put a little bit olive oil in a pan.
I should mention it's spring when we're here, so leeks are in season.
Leek season. And now we add some potatoes in dice.
Fine dice.
Just a little bit chicken stock.
That's chicken?
Chicken, yes.
Pardon.
Not fish. We're ready. And a lot of caviar, like this. And a little bit pommes chips, so it's crispy. And the flour. I would serve a glass of Riesling, Alsatian Riesling, a very dry white wine.
Thanks so much for
Thank
bringing
you.
us in.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure cooking
No, my
for you.
pleasure. Great to meet you after all these years again.
Thank
I had
you.
one of my best meals of my lives in your restaurant.
Thank you.
I've always loved Alsace, and this trip was no exception. We got to taste some amazing wines along the way, ate like kings, met some super passionate, committed vignerons, and didn't get anywhere near enough exercise. So, a little bike ride can't hurt, huh? Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
Lou's Naturals family of brands offers all-natural, minimally processed meats, free of antibiotics, hormones, and nitrates. From our family to yours.
Imported from Italy, Anapasta is made from 100% Italian durum wheat semolina and pure spring water, slowly dried to cook al dente. Recipes online at cento.com.